Le metteur en scène sud-africain de 54 ans, Bailey, rend visite pour la deuxième fois au Festival d'Avignon, et cette fois-ci avec le mythe de Samson. De rythmes ensorcelants transposés à l'époque contemporaine, rongés par la haine et la violence, avec une pensée particulière pour les marginalisés, les oppressés. Il nous explique son choix de cette pièce dans l'interview.
In the Bible, it's a Bible story from the Old Testament. He's from the Hebrews, the Jewish people, and they are oppressed by the Philistines and colonized by them, I suppose. And he is anointed by his God to rise up and liberate his people. He's an incarnation of fury, and he's like an avatar of fury and revenge for the oppression that they've suffered. And so coming from South Africa, where white supremacy was ruling the roost for so long, that story is very much in my mind. You know, if I find a story like that, it interests me. You know, and I'm aware that the apartheid laws changed in 1994. We got a black president, a black government, but still there's a huge amount of inequality, and the people that are poor are still very, very poor and getting poorer. In so many countries around the world, in Xinjiang province in China, in Syria, in Iraq, in Myanmar, people are being oppressed, and those people are being pushed down, and sooner or later that explosion happens and everything is destabilized. So that is the connection to the story. It's against oppression of any sort, I suppose. It's against bullying as well. It's against xenophobia. It's against racism. It's against capitalism as well, because it strips the land of resources. It leaves the people that are at the bottom of the pond with nothing to eat, whereas people are enriching themselves from what's at the bottom of the pond. So it's against anything like that. Something that dehumanizes, crushes, oppresses people. There's a narrator right the way through the performance who speaks most of the time, and he says twice, we see but we look away, we hear but we don't listen, until it's too late to ask ourselves why. And I'd say if there's a message, it's that if we're not aware, and if we don't try to change the situations which so many people are marginalized, oppressed and angry, there's going to be a huge cataclysm. And we already see this breaking out in so many parts of the world. And I think that is, if there's a message, it's that. It was nerve-wracking because we didn't know if we would get here. The day before we left, we had to go for a COVID test, and I felt, as the third wave was breaking in Cape Town of coronavirus, that more than likely one of us 17 would be infected. So I didn't think we'd get here. So it was extraordinary that we got here. It's great that that festivals are running again. I think everybody was in shock after last year. There's one South African production which didn't make it this year because 6 of their company have COVID. In South Africa, the theatres aren't open yet. There were 2 premieres supposed to happen about 3 weeks ago, and COVID came into the house and closed them down. So it's just a celebration of culture, and that's wonderful.